Days before the tornadoes hit, we gave you the first alert.
Right now, we're going with a first alert weather day for Saturday. Days in advance, we saw this storm system coming, and we don't say it just as a throwaway. We want to make sure that you're thinking ahead of time. You're getting your family prepared. This is why we first alert.
This video from a WSMV4 viewer shows a possible tornado from Ripsteel Road in Columbia.
And elsewhere in Murray County, we're seeing this stunning video from Spring Hill. This is a tornado here caught on camera. Crews are all across the mid-state here bringing you our team coverage of these storms.
At least one person has died, and officials say multiple people have critical injuries.
And that's when I hollered at everybody to get in the closet, and the next thing we knew, we heard just seen sky. My house is gone.
Could tell something important was inside that camper, and then we see him come out with that dog, and he said he just did what he had to do.
So long as he's fine, that's all I care about. Everything else can be replaced.
If there was ever a question what 140-mile-per-hour winds could do, just look behind me. There's a 36-foot RV that's laying on its side tonight.
We saw the storm kind of shift our direction. That's why we're watching you, is because you've got a radar that's right on time and kept us informed. I told my wife to go to the closet and grab our motorcycle helmets, because you preach, grab a helmet, and that probably saved a lot of people.
I'm glad you were watching that night, for sure.
Thankful for you and Channel 4 helping us get through it.
There's something so uniquely sinister about him.
I also kept my socks as DNA evidence. I still don't know what happened to that evidence.
Obviously, there has been a breach in public safety.
People like me are falling through the cracks.
This story made the news in Tarek's hometown.
They had so many case files on this guy, and they just allowed him to keep going.
Do you feel that police ultimately failed you?
I do. They failed a lot of us.
What do you say to those women that would never get justice?
There's nothing you can say.
This person was a predator.
I think he's a predator.
I had no idea that I was going to a predator.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
Hi, I don't have an address. I'm trying to file a missing persons report. We're here on a fraternity formal trip. It's one of my good buddies. His name is Riley Strain.
Riley, we're still here, Bubba. We're coming for you. Just help us find you.
Surveillance video shows college student Riley Strain stumble away from Broadway alone. It has been 4 nights now since the 22-year-old went missing after a night out in downtown Nashville.
People working at this smoke shop say they saw him walk by.
His mother was here. She asked me, she was crying. She asked me about him. If I seen him, I told her I seen him outside.
Crews are analyzing newly released video of a missing college student.
And you're looking at it here. It shows Riley Strain talking briefly with a Metro police officer on the night he disappeared.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
My company works on the river. I have just found a dead body. I believe it to be Riley.
We are on top of breaking news right now. Crews have pulled a body from the river that they say belongs to Riley Strain.
I just ask that you mamas out there hug your babies tight tonight, please. Please, for me.
Because you have your 2-year-old with you guys out here while you guys are panhandling, that is a big no-no. She could run inside the street and she can get hit.
They're panhandling with small kids in tow. And as our cameras captured, they're not the only ones. Do you think that's safe?
It's not your problem. I say please go.
It's a different day, but the same intersection.
I don't need nothing.
We found another pair of adults with a small child. And again, they are just feet away from multiple lanes of traffic. Here's another example. A woman holding a baby close to cars, driving off 440 at Hillsborough Pike, while a man panhandles nearby. Your heart kind of aches for these children.
Very much so. Very much so.
Kate Greer works for the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. She says while this would warrant a response, more would be needed for a DCS investigation.
In itself, poverty, needing money, wanting money in that manner is not necessarily abuse or neglect, nor is it against the law. We look at things like, are they being harmed? You know, are they being neglected? Are they supposed to be in school?
When DCS does respond to these cases, they say their goal is to offer help. But this panhandler told us he didn't want help.
It's not your problem. I say, please go. Leave me alone, please.
Is there a way we can help you?
No, nothing. I don't need nothing. Thank you.
But your sign says you need help. So is there a better way to help?
Stop, I say, and then go.
Is there a better way to help?
Nothing.
The unthinkable happens. Arrested and charged for drunk driving, but completely sober.
You're making a mistake. I have not been drinking.
And if you thought this was a rare event, you'd be wrong.
They have traumatized my son. They have traumatized me.
Chief Investigator Jeremy Finley uncovers case after case of wrongful DUI arrests by local police departments and reveals the devastating effects it's had on lives.
This has destroyed my life.
Watch WSMV4 News Thursday at 6.
One look at how William Rose performs on his field sobriety test, and you can see why he's in trouble.
But I was scared to death.
Scared and confused, because Rose was completely sober.
I kept telling him, I said, sir, you're making a mistake. I have not been drinking. I'm not impaired.
So you may be thinking it's a rare case. Except it also happened to Bill Shank in Clarksville. His DUI arrest was plastered all over a local media outlet.
It feels surreal. It's like a joke.
And to Katie Slayton in Franklin. She was arrested in front of her child's daycare. Sober Middle Tennesseans arrested for DUI. And as a result, they say their lives are ruined.
Tonight, a TBI investigation is underway into the death of workers at a plastics plant. Employees say they were not allowed to leave in enough time to escape the floodwaters.
Now, this comes as state officials face questions of why so many people were caught off guard by the floodwaters, including hospital workers trapped on a roof. Courtney Allen is in Unicoi County, where several workers died at a plastics factory. And our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley, is looking into how soon people were warned about the storm.
The road to the plastics plant is closed, but we did talk to an employee who says he was swept away by the floodwaters and was able to get to the top of a semi-truck to get to higher ground. He believes this all could have been prevented if the company acted sooner. This was the moment Jacob Ingram was rescued by a helicopter, waiting as others were hoisted up.
Only 5 of us made it.
He says he was with co-workers from Impact Plastics Friday. They'd have been at the factory that day when Hurricane Helene floodwaters came through.
I actually asked one of the higher ups, and they told me no, not yet, that they had to ask someone before we was able to leave, even though it was already above the doors and the cars and everything else.
We've now talked to the family of one of the missing employees. She says her cousin called, saying the water was reaching them at the factory, but by the time they were allowed to leave, it was too late. Karina Alonso hasn't heard this laugh since Friday.
She was so loving.
And the last time her cousin was seen was in these photos. 29-year-old Rosa Andrade is on the left as floodwaters began to rise around Impact Plastics.
She just said that when they let them out, it was already too late because cars were moving away with the water. And that's where she just lost it. She knew that maybe she wasn't going to be able to get out, especially if she doesn't know how to swim.
She doesn't know how to swim?
No.
Multiple employees are dead. Others, like Andrade, are still missing. And the factory, Impact Plastics, is now being investigated by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Our analysis found that when the actual warning from the National Weather Service went out to people to evacuate, it was simply too late for many to escape. It's one of the images now synonymous with the East Tennessee flooding. Hospital workers trapped on the roof, having to be rescued by a helicopter. A review of warning data by WSMV4 Investigates shows how quickly it happened.
Covenant families have been pushing for change since last year's shooting.
March 27th was nothing short of a life-changing event, and some Covenant parents are very clear when they say, we are not okay. We've seen several families begin to become politically active, and 2 Covenant mothers shared with our Amanda Hara new ways that their children are struggling, both physically and emotionally.
Some photographs are worth 1,000 words, but this one will leave you speechless.
You were one of the only parents who was able to reunify with your child before the actual reunification at the nearby church.
As I was peering through the glass of the fire station, he caught eyes with me and he ran up to the window. And he screamed. He said, "Mom, come inside." He said, "Please, Mom." I said, "Put your hand right here." And so we held hands through that glass, and that's how we were reunited with one another.
From tornadoes.
This is it. This is it on the ground. There it is. That's the tornado on the ground.
To powerful floods.
It's just devastating to watch your lives go away in dumpsters.
To the underestimated dangers of lightning. Severe weather impacts us all. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at severe weather in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. From how it forms to how to stay safe. The WSMV4 First Alert Weather Team presents Surviving the Storm.
Over the next 30 minutes, our goal is to show you what to expect this severe weather season and what to do to get ready.
The rotation actually starts horizontally. It doesn't start vertically until we introduce a thunderstorm into the mix.
The National Weather Service will issue a tornado emergency. These are more rare to see, but they require immediate action.
Trusting your child to a daycare can be hard.
I feel like I let my daughter down.
And one family wonders if serious violations are being missed by the agency that's supposed to help keep your child safe.
I'd rather have my daughter here with me 24/7, knowing that she's well taken care of.
WSMV4's Amanda Hara uncovers multiple issues that could leave parents in the dark and reveals why you may want to do more research before choosing a daycare for your child. Thursday at 6 on WSMV4.
This is day 3 of the massive search. Time is of the essence here.
There is significant concern tonight about this sudden drop in temperatures. It is very cold. Sebastian has autism, and he's gone without his medication this whole time. And since then, authorities have searched by air, by foot, and on horseback.
Helicopters, drones, and dive teams have also been brought in to try to find him. Today, his parents spoke exclusively to our Holly Thompson.
She's live tonight in Sumner County. Holly, I imagine it was quite an emotional interview.
Certainly was. It is hard for any of us to imagine the emotions that this family is going through right now.
Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
Are you both in the clear?
I can tell you that Mom, myself, and the father have worked very fully.
Even though Sebastian does have autism, he is a smart teenager. He is highly functional. They say if you see him, say his name, say Sebastian, and he'll respond.
Join WSMV4 in celebrating Black History Month.
Black artists are putting out some of the most critically acclaimed and best-selling country music, but many are saying they're not getting the support they need from their own community.
Country music as an industry has made it clear that it was not meant for a Black audience to consume, even though Black artists helped create this genre of music.
Friday at 6 on WSMV4.
It's a legacy the first Black woman master blender in the U.S. is working to keep intact.
We believe in pulling as we climb. If we don't bring others up, then we have not done what we set out to do.
Remembering the godfather of Tennessee whiskey and how one of his descendants is keeping his spirit alive one sip at a time. Plus,
it's really personal to me that in Music City that students have access to music education, but then they also have quality music education.
The sound of music in Nashville schools. We'll meet the man that's building on the footprint that ignited his passion and how he's setting the tone for students. And
her impact and her platform makes this such a huge deal. I mean, she's a first in many regards.
She's talking about Beyonce, who's making an iconic mark in the country music industry. Hear how the superstar's rollout could help bring visibility to other Black country artists. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Marius Payton. We are in the Civil Rights Room at the main downtown library in Nashville. Built just blocks from where the legendary Nashville sit-ins occurred in the city's segregated lunch counters. In this Black History Special, we're recognizing the contributions African Americans in Nashville have made since then. That includes the work that still needs to be done to establish equality throughout the many facets of life.